Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Hopefully you're all having an awesome day today and ready to take a look at this room here on TryHackMe. Intro to logs. Now before we get into it, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here, hit the like button if you're enjoying the content, and then comment below with your thoughts and opinions on the video, on the content itself, on the room. Have you done this room before, etc., etc. Now let's go ahead and get into it. I wanted to mention that this is a free room, so anybody with an account on TryHackMe can go in and do the room. I highly encourage you follow along with the video or go and do the room yourself and then come back to the video as needed. Intro to logs. Learn the fundamentals of logging, data sources, collection methods, and principles to step into the log analysis world. It says here, task number 1, introduction. How can we identify malicious activities? What kind of evidence is generated when an intruder breaches the network? Why is it essential to recognize the indicators within our environment? Now, there's quite a bit of text in this room here from what I've seen. I'm just going to skim over some of the information and then go over some of the highlighted items, etc., right? Be sure to pause the video and go through and read everything and make sure you're understanding what's going on here. Continuing on, says logs serve as invaluable records of past events, providing essential insights to address these questions by preserving an archive of historical activities. We can bolster our security posture and protect our digital assets more effectively, and that's true. A lot of times, unfortunately, some organizations do not have proper logging enabled, and they won't realize it until it's too late. The attacker has already been in their system for X amount of time, and they've already done X amount of damage. But that doesn't have to be you or your organization. So we're going to learn about logs, different types of log types, formats, etc., how logs can be used to basically track down evil in your network, how to conduct investigations, correlation, etc., right? Continuing on here, learning objectives. This room covers how logs can be used to record an adversary's actions, the tools, techniques needed to perform log analysis, and the significance of effectively collecting and analyzing logs. Understand the importance of logs as historical activity record for identifying and mitigating potential threats. Explore various types of logs, logging mechanisms, and collection methods across multiple platforms. Gain hands-on experience detecting and defending adversaries through log analysis. This is recommended reading. Be sure to check out this room here if you haven't done so already. Now let's go ahead and continue to task number 2, which is going to be over expanding perspectives, logs as evidence of historical activity. Now I've already gone ahead and started this machine here just to save time. But let's see here, working with log scenario, a web server of SwiftSpin Financial is constantly bombarded with scans from adversary. As a systems administrator of this organization, tasked to address this predicament, you must identify what the adversary is doing by configuring, logging, and analyzing collected logs, connecting to the machine. Just gives you instructions on how to connect the machine. I'm just going to use the split view here in a second. Important, yada, yada, yada. So continuing on, in the heart of data logs, just as a physical tree's rings revealed its life story, indicating good years with thick curls and challenging ones within, a digital log provides a historical record of system activity. Right, basically this is just going over what a log typically consists of and what you will see in a log, right? You got timestamp, unique identifier source, um, execution context, description, severity level, additional information. And this goes over a little bit more timestamp of when an event was logged, the name of the system or application, the type of event, additional details about the event, such as the user initiated the event or the device's IP address that generated the event. This information typically stored in a log file, which contains aggregated entries of what occurred at any given time on a system. Continuing on here, it says the true power of logs, contextual correlation. Single log entry may seem insignificant on its own, but when log data is aggregated, analyzed, and cross-referenced with other sources of information, it becomes a potent investigation tool. Logs can answer critical questions about an event, such as what, when, where, who were, and what was the result of their action. And it goes in and describes it a bit further, these items a bit further, and it goes over some examples here, right? What happened? An adversary was confirmed to have accessed Swift pins, financial GitHub instance. When did it happen, right? It's saying it happened at this time on this date, and then where did it happen? It gives you the IP address, right? Who is responsible? Upon examining the network logs, it was observed that the device identified with user agent, yada yada yada, allocated to this IP address. Were they successful? Yes, since an API key was found to be publicly exposed on the GitLab instance. Moreover, the web proxy logs confirmed that the adversary device reached gitlab.swiftspin.finance and maintained access through their uploaded web shell. What was the result of the action? The adversary achieved remote code execution, yada yada yada, performed post-exploitation activities. It says the example above emphasizes how logs are instrumental in piecing together a course or a complete picture of an event, yada yada yada. Now there's some questions down below, so go ahead and try to answer those yourself, then come back to the video. We're going to walk through this here shortly. Now let's continue on. It says, what is the name of the colleague who left a note on your laptop or your desktop? Sorry. Now let's go back into the split view here and find that. So while this is loading up, I'm just go back down here. So you got note.text, and let's go ahead and open that up here. It's going to take a little bit to open up. This VM's kind of slow today. All right, now as you're reading through here, you got this message from Perry. So that's going to be answer that one. That's your colleague, right? And it says, what is the full path to the suggested log file for initial investigation? Now, as you're reading through here, you'll come to find that out as this var log GitLab nginx access that log, and you can see that right here on number 2, right? So you can look at the logs here, but I suggest looking into var log GitLab nginx /access, right? And then searching for suspicious web browser activity first. So we're going to go ahead and do that here shortly, right? Let me go ahead and minimize this. Now let's continue on to task number 3, where we're going to take a look at some types of logs, the formats of logs, and logging standards, etc., etc. Log types. Here says there's a list of common log types. You got application logs, audit logs, security logs, server logs, system logs, network logs, database logs, web server logs. That's quite a few different types of log types. And we're continuing on here. And it goes in and talks about log formats, right? You got semi-structured logs. These logs may contain structured and unstructured data with predictable components accommodating free text or free-form text. Examples include syslog, which is very well known and used throughout the environment. You'll come across this in your career, syslog, message format and stuff. A lot of these SIM tools and stuff will take syslog formats, and it even says it here, a widely adopted logging format or protocol for system and network logs, right? Continuing on, you got, of course, Windows event logs, proprietary Microsoft log for Windows systems, and this is exactly what it looks like here. And you can actually open up Event Viewer and take a look at these logs yourself. Structured logs gives you an example here. You got CSV and TASV, and it's got an example of the CSV format. It's got the commas in there, separated values, right? It looks structured. It's not just thrown in there with the no format at all. And it talks about JSON, known for its reliability and compatibility with modern programming languages. And it talks about ELF or W3C extended log format here. It goes on and talks about XML stuff, and then unstructured logs, pretty much the opposite of structured logs, right? Kind of obvious from the naming convention. Comprising free-form text, these logs can be rich in context, but may pose challenges in systematic parsing, which is absolutely true. A lot of times you'll need a parser for these raw logs when they come in. Otherwise, it won't look properly in a SIM, or maybe the SIM won't even display it. But it goes over and talks about some of those log formats down here. And continuing on, it talks about log standards. A log standard is a set of guidelines or specifications that define how logs should be generated, transmitted, and stored. Log standards may specify the use of particular log formats, but they also cover other aspects of logging, yada, yada, yada. And it goes over some examples here. You got common event expression, OWASP logging cheat sheet, syslog protocol, and etc. etc. There's some questions down here below. Be sure to try to answer those yourself, then come back to the video. So pause the video and then come back as a reference. And we're going to continue on here to these questions. First question is based on the list of log types in this task. What log type is used by the log file specified in the note from task number 2? And we knew that they were looking for the log in this directory here. So we should go ahead and cat that to see what it looks like here. Hit that Control C to stop it and take a look at it. May analyze now what does this look like? Well, it looks like web server logs as explained above. It was talking about web server logs, right? So let's go up here and scroll up a bit and see if we can find that information. Web server logs, requests processed by a web server, including URLs, response codes, etc. Well, we have all that here, right? You got the GET request here. You got the response codes in here, 302, etc., etc. So it fits web server logs category. And the next question, it says, based on the list of log formats in this task, what log format is used by the log file specified and the note from task number 2? Well, that's going to be combined, right? As explained here for combined and Nginx right there. An extension of CLF adding fields like refer an agent or user agent. It is typically used by Nginx HTTP server by default, and it looks exactly like that. You got all the information in here, right? So let's go ahead and continue on to task number 4. Task 4, collection, management, and centralization. Log collection. Log collection is an essential component of log analysis involving the aggregation of logs from diverse sources such as servers, network devices, software, and databases. For logs to effectively represent a chronological sequence of events, it's crucial to maintain the system's time accuracy during logging, utilizing the network time protocol, aka NTP, is a method to achieve this synchronization and ensure the integrity of the timeline stored in the logs, and that's absolutely important as it stresses here. You're going to use something like NTP to make sure your timeline is matching up. A lot of cases, you're probably going to be on universal time so that everything correlates no matter where you are in the world. Sometimes you'll have people in different countries in your SOC team, what have you. Continue on here, and it says, as this is a foundational step to ensuring that a security analyst would have a comprehensive data set to review, the following is a simple step-by-step process to achieving this, bearing in mind the need to prioritize the collection based on significant information. And it talks about identify sources, choose a log collector, configure collection parameters, and then you're going to test the collection, make sure everything's working as needed. Important. Please be aware that the NTP-based time synchronization may not be possible to replicate with the VM since it has no internet connectivity. However, when performing this in practice using pool.ntp.org to find NTP server's best, time synchronization can be performed automatically in Linux-based systems or manually initiated by executing NTP update pool.ntp.org. And you can see here in the little screenshot thing, it has an example of what that looks like. And over here, it's going to talk about log management. Effective or efficient log management ensures that every gathered log is stored securely, organized systematically, and is ready for swift retrieval. A hybrid approach can provide a balanced solution for hoarding all log files and selectively trimming. Once you've collected your logs, effective management of them is paramount. These steps can be followed to achieve this. You got storage, organization, backup, and review, and it's absolutely important because a lot of times this can be very expensive. Storage is very expensive these days. You know, the more storage capacity you need, the more you'll be charged for it. So you have to make sure you're properly trimming down the logs as needed and ensuring that you're getting the appropriate logs. Log centralization. This is basically talking about like a SIM and stuff like that, right? So choose a centralized system, operating system that consolidates logs from all sources such as Elastic or Splunk. Those are, Splunk is well-known SIM. Integrate sources, set up monitoring, integration with incident management. Practical activity, we're going to get our hands dirty here. Log collection with our syslog. So go ahead and pause the video and go through these steps here and see what you can find out on your machine. All right, we're going to do this together if you want to follow along, or you can just go ahead and fast forward through this part here. So we're just going to copy and paste basically. I've already done this, so I'm just going to up arrow it. So we're going to do this, and you can see that this is running, right, active, and you're going to hit Q to exit out of this. And it wants us to create that config file, which I've already done, right? So I'm just going to up arrow this to find it right here, and wait till it opens in gedit. You can use nano, you can use vim, whatever. Right, there it is. I've already copied and pasted this in here. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. Make sure you've done the same. And we're going to continue on here. Oh yeah, be sure to restart it. Restart that service as it states here. So just follow along these steps here and you'll be in good shape. And after that, it wants us to go ahead and verify that configuration. So I'm just going to type it in SSH localhost. Right. Okay. Now you should have been able to successfully make that connection with SSH to the local host. You can see there mine was successful, right? So let's continue on here. And it wants us to answer some of these questions. So pause the video and try to find the answers yourself. And we're going to continue on in this video to find these answers. Right. The first one here. After configuring our syslog for SSHD, what username repeatedly appears in the SSHD logs at var log web server 02 r syslog sshd.log, indicating failed login attempts or brute forcing? Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go ahead and just cat it. All right, I'm just going to copy and paste it over here, make it easier for me. So I'm going to paste this in here. Go. And make sure to, let me just clear this out real quick. And put cat in there. All right, so let's take a quick look here at these logs. And you're seeing it says connection closed by invalid user Stan Simon from this IP address and this port pre-auth, right? So you see that in here a lot of times. Failed password for invalid user, failed password for invalid user, failed password for invalid user, yada yada yada. So that's going to be the answer for that one, Stan Simon. And this next question says, what is the IP address of SIM02 based on the rsyslog configuration file located here, which is used to monitor cron messages? All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and cat this file. You can cat it, or you can just open it up inside of a text editor. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Clear this out, and I'm going to do cat and paste. Bam. So you take a quick look at this here. Remember, this is what we had configured earlier, right? You get log forwarding with rsyslog, yada yada yada, cron. And it's talking about the just the location of where the log file is, and this is for logs to SAM02, and at this IP address, right? And then this port number. So that's going to be answer to that one. And this last one here says based on the generated logs in var log web server 02 r syslog underscore cron.log, what command is being executed by the root user? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cat that location and take a look at those logs. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out of here, make it easier to read. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste this just to make it easier for me, right? We like easy over here when it comes to typing in these commands. Saves a lot of time on things. So cat, and then I'm going to copy or paste it in here. And let's go ahead and take a look at this one again. See what's going on. See what kind of funny business we can find out. And right off the bat, we see something crazy in here, right? October 25th at 16:31:01, web server 02. It says root command. You got bin bash dash c bin bash dash I yada 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 at this IP address and this port number. This looks like a reverse shell to me. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that in there, and that's going to be the answer for that last one. Now let's continue on to task number 5. Task number 5, storage, retention, and deletion. Log storage. Logs can be stored in various locations such as local system that generates them, a centralized repository, or cloud-based storage. The choice of storage typically depends on multiple factors, and it has them listed out here. Security requirements, accessibility needs, storage capacity, cost considerations, compliance regulations, retention policies, disaster recovery plans, and it talks about log retention here. It is vital to recognize that log storage is not infinite, therefore a reasonable balance between retention logs for potential future needs and the cost is necessary. Understanding the concepts of hot, warm, and cold storage can aid in this decision making, and it goes over what those are. You got hot storage 3 to 6 months, warm storage 6 to 2 years, cold storage 2 to 5 years. This is managing the cost of storage logs is critical for organizations, and carefully selecting hot, warm, or cold storage strategies can help keep these costs in check. And the next thing is going to talk about log deletion. Log deletion must be performed carefully to avoid removing logs that could still be of value. The backup of log files, especially crucial ones, is necessary before deletion. It says it is necessary to have a well-defined deletion policy to ensure compliance with data protection laws, regulations. Log deletion steps helps to maintain a manageable size of log for analysis, comply with privacy regulations, and keeps storage costs and balance. That's absolutely correct. You don't want to sit there and store everything forever, right? You want to be sure to consult your legal teams, consult management, right? Make sure you're not violating any type of laws or regulatory or compliance items out there. And let's continue on. It says best practices, log storage, retention, and deletion. Determine the storage, retention, and deletion policy based on both business needs and legal requirements. Regularly review and update the guidelines per changing conditions and regulations. Automate the storage, retention, deletion processes. Encrypt sensitive logs to protect the data. Regular backups should be made, especially before deletion, and that's absolutely true. Sometimes, a lot of times, you want to encrypt your sensitive logs, right? Because they could be containing sensitive information such as personally identifiable information. Maybe you got some health information or something like that. I'm just using those as examples. Let's see here. Practical activity log management. So go ahead and go through this process here to create this file and follow the steps here. Be sure to copy and paste this into that file. Now we're going to continue on to these questions here. First question says, based on the log rotate configuration located there, how many versions of old compressed log file copies will be kept? So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and just cat it, see what it looks like here. And we can see it says rotate every 24 hours, right? And it's going to be rotating hourly. So there you go. And that's actually the next answer. It's going to be hourly for the frequency. Let's continue on to task number 6 here. And let's see here. Task number 6, hands-on exercise, log analysis process, tools, and techniques. Logs are more than mere records of historical events. They can serve as a guiding compass. They are invaluable resources that, when skillfully leveraged, can enhance system diagnostics, cybersecurity, and regulatory compliance efforts. The role in keeping a record of historical activity for a system or application is crucial. Log analysis process. The log analysis involves parsing, normalization, sorting, classification, enrichment, correlation, visualization, and reporting. It can be done through various tools and techniques, yada, yada, yada. And let's go over, talks about different items here. You got data sources, you got parsing, normalization, sorting, classification. You want to make sure your stuff is classified appropriately, especially if you are dealing with compliance, regulatory stuff like that. Says classification can be based on severity level, event type, or source. Automated classification using machine learning can significantly enhance this process, helping to identify potential issues or threats that can be overlooked. Enrichment. Log enrichment adds context to logs, make them more meaningful and easier to analyze. Correlation. Correlation involves linking related records and identifying connections. It talks about visualization, how you want to see it in like a chart, graphs, or heat maps, and reporting. It's important when it comes to supporting decision making, meeting compliance requirements, etc., etc. It talks about log analysis tools. security information event management, that's SIM. Tools such as Splunk or Elasticsearch can be used for complex log analysis tasks. However, in scenarios where immediate data analysis is needed, such as during incident response, Linux-based systems can employ default tools such as cat, grep, sed, sort, yada yada yada. Utilize easy tools and default commandlet get file hashes in a process for Windows-based systems. These tools enable rapid parsing and analysis, which suits these situations. And additionally, proper acquisition could or should be observed by taking the log file's hash during collection to ensure its admissibility in court of law. And that's absolutely an important step when it comes to incident response, forensics, what have you. It's imperative not only to log events, but also to ensure their integrity, that they are analyzed, and any lessons obtained from the logs be learned, as the safety and efficiency of an organization can depend on them. Goes over and talks about log analysis techniques. Log analysis techniques are methods of practice or practices used to interpret and derive insights from log data. These techniques can range from simple to complex and are vital for identifying patterns, anomalies, and critical insights. Here are some of the common techniques. Talks about pattern recognition or recognition, anomaly detection, correlation analysis, timeline analysis, machine learning and AI visualization, static analysis. And we're going to do some practical application here, so be sure to go through these steps here to take a look at what's going on here. Um, so you unparsed raw logs, so go ahead and do this step here. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. I believe that's it. So yeah, so go ahead and follow these step-by-step process and see what you can find. And then we're going to finish off by getting these answers to these questions down below. All right. To get the answers for this one, basically you're going to go in, you're going to cat this file here, this comp file, right? As you can see here, I've already done it. And the first question says, how many versions of old compressed log file copies will be kept? Well, that's going to be 24 because they're rotating every 24 hours. And how do I know that's 24 hours? Because it has it set to hourly right there, which is the answer to this last question here. All right, task number 6, hands-on exercise, log analysis process, tools and techniques. Logs are more than mere records of historical events. They can serve as a guiding compass. They are invaluable resources that, when skillfully leveraged, can enhance system dynamics, etc., etc., etc. Then it talks about the log analysis process. Log analysis involves parsing, normalization, sorting, classification, enrichment, correlation, visualization, and reporting. Right, and then it goes over and describes all those techniques down here below. So be sure to read through all of this here. And it's going to talk about the log analysis tool, the SIM, which stands for Security Information Event Management, and popular SIMs out there, Splunk and Elasticsearch. Says they can be used for complex log analysis tasks. However, in scenarios where immediate data analysis is needed, such as during incident response, Linux-based systems can employ default tools such as cat, grep, sed, sort, unique, awk, along with SHA-256-SUM for hashing log files. Windows, you can use these easy tools. Let's go ahead and continue on. Here, log analysis techniques. Starts describing some of the techniques that you can possibly use here. It says pattern recognition. This involves identifying recurring sequences or trends in log data. You got anomaly detection. Anomaly detection focuses on identifying data points that deviate from the expected pattern. You got correlation analysis, timeline analysis, machine learning and AI visualization, statistical analysis. It says these techniques can be applied individually or in combination, depending on the specific requirements and complexity of the log analysis task. A lot of times the SIMs will do this for you, a lot of these for you. So a lot of this machine learning and AI stuff is becoming more and more popular these days. All right, let's continue on here. Working with logs, practical application. So we're going to get our hands dirty here shortly. We're going to basically paste this into the web browser and take a look at these logs that come in. And then you can use these Unix-like tools that they have listed out here to give you an example of what to do here, etc., etc. Now I've already done this, and TryHackMe is a bit slow, and it also like crashed on me or something. But um, I didn't need to do this particular part here in order to get the answer to the first question down here, right? Which you'll see here, it says no date field. We'll see that here in a second. What is the process of standardization or standardizing parse data into a more easily readable and queryable format? Well, that's going to be normalization, as we saw up above, if you read through there. And then the next question is going to be, what is the process of consolidating normalized logs to enhance the analysis of activities related to a specific IP address? Well, that's going to be enrichment, as we read above in those paragraphs. So if you did not read through those, I highly recommend reading and understanding what those are. Now let's continue on to find this error. Okay, now I jumped over to the full screen aspect. It wants us to find that error message, and you can see here, if you click on this next to add filter, you click on this logs area here, you'll see no date field for this particular log location. All right, that's going to be the answer to that one. Now let's continue on to the last task, which is the conclusion. Congratulations, you've completed the intro to logs room. In summary, we were able to learn and perform the following: the significance of logs as records of past activities, delve into an array of logs, their creation techniques, yada yada yada, review the results from analyzing logs, acquire practical skills in identifying and countering adversaries via log analysis. If you enjoyed this room, continue learning, develop proficiency in these areas specific to security operations and incident response tooling, which may enhance your log analysis and overall blue teaming skills, such as the following. You got EDR stuff here, various different rooms for that, IDS, IPS systems here, going into snort stuff, and then you got the SIM stuff here. Now be sure to check these rooms out if you haven't done so already. This is good stuff here. You're getting some hands-on experience as well as some knowledge to know how to use these tools. And that's pretty much it here. It says next steps is going to be this log operations room, which I may do a video on it. I haven't decided yet or not. But thank you all for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Comment below on your thoughts and opinions on the information shared. You know, all that good stuff. And as always, have a nice day. See you later.